Welcome to Spiritual Calisthenics. Christ is in our midst. On April 9th, we celebrate the Holy Martyr, Eupsychius of Caesarea, Saint Raphael, Nicholas, and Irene of Mytilene, and Saint Vadim the Righteous of Persia. Regarding Saint Eupsychius the Martyr, this holy martyr was from the parts of Cappadocia and lived a blameless life with his wife. During the reign of Julian the Apostate, this blessed one was filled with divine zeal, and with other Christians destroyed the pagan temple dedicated to Fortune. Because of this, he received the crown of martyrdom by beheading in the year 362. Your martyr, O Lord, in his courageous contest for you, receives as the prize the crowns of incorruption and life from you, our immortal God. For since he possessed your strength, he cast down the tyrants, and wholly destroyed the demon's strength as presumption. O Christ God, by his prayers, save our souls, since you art merciful. Regarding Saints Raphael, Nicholas, and Irene, and the other newly revealed martyrs of Lesbos. On the island of Mytilene, Lesbos in ancient times, near the village of Thermi, the villagers had a custom of ascending a certain hill on this day to celebrate the divine liturgy in the ruins of a small chapel, although no one knew whence this tradition had sprang, that being on Bright Tuesday, the Tuesday after Pascha. In the year 1959, certain villagers began seeing persons who spoke to them, first in dreams, then awake, both by day and by night. Through these wondrous appearances, which were given to many people independently, the holy martyrs Raphael, archimandrite of the ancient monastery, and Nicholas, his deacon, together with other saints who had been martyred on the island, told the villagers the whole account of their martyrdom, which had taken place at the hand of the Muslim Turks 10 years after the fall of Constantinople in 1463. The 12-year-old Irene had been tortured, then burned alive in a large earthenware jar in the presence of her parents. On Tuesday of Renewal Week, that is Bright Week, Saint Raphael had been tied to a tree and his head sawn off through his jaws. Saint Nicholas had died at the sight of this. Although the feast is celebrated today because it is the day of their martyrdom, through the appearances of the saints as living persons 500 years after their martyrdom, it is also a singular testimony to the resurrection of Christ. While their feast takes place on April 9th, it is commemorated always on Bright Tuesday. On Lesbos you strove in contest for the sake of Christ God. You also have hallowed her with the discovery of your relics, O blessed ones. O God-bearer Raphael, with you we all honor Nicholas the deacon and Irene the chaste virgin as our divine protectors who now intercede with the Lord. You shone on the world like stars, first as ascetics, then as athletes slain for Christ, and were translated to the heights through the great torments that you endured, and them that praise you and keep and protect, O saints.
From the prophecy of Isaiah.
Thus says the Lord, cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet. Declare to my people their transgression, to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as if they were a nation that did righteousness and did not forsake the ordinances of their God. They ask of me righteous judgments, they delight to draw near to God. Why have we fasted, and thou seest it not? Why have we humbled ourselves, and thou takest no knowledge of it? Behold, in the day of your fast you seek your own pleasure, and oppress all your workers. Behold, you fast only to quarrel, and to fight, and to hit with wicked fist. Fasting like yours this day will not make your voice to be heard on high. Is such the fast that I choose, a day for a man to humble himself? Is it to bow down his head like a rush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Will you call this a fast, and a day acceptable to the Lord? Is not this the fast that I choose, to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the thongs of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, and bring the homeless poor into your house? When you see the naked, to cover him, and not to hide yourself from your own flesh? Then shall your light break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up speedily. Your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he shall say, here I am. If you take away from the midst of you the yoke, the pointing of the finger, and speaking wickedness, If you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness and your gloom be as the noonday. And the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire with good things and make your bones strong. And you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters fail not. So in other words, fasting is not the end unto itself. It's a tool. It's a means to get us to where we need to be. It does us no good if we're quarreling, if we consume our brother or deal with hatred.
From the book of Genesis.
And we see that we are now dealing with Joseph. Joseph, who is one of the 12 sons of Israel, also known as Jacob. When Jacob confronted his brother Esau, right before that, he wrestled an angel. It was with Jesus Christ. And after that, he walked through the rest of his life with a limp, and his name is now Israel, which is, of course, the people of God. And Joseph was sold into slavery in Egypt. When Joseph came home, they brought into the house to him the present which they had with them, and bowed down to him in the ground. And he inquired about their welfare and said, "Is your father well? The old man of whom you spoke, is he still alive?" Now, what is this about? This is because Joseph was an interpreter of dreams. And so when he was sold into Egypt, he made his master very, very rich. But because of his righteousness, he was thrown in prison. Why was he thrown in prison? We talk about this on the eve of Palm Sunday, the Orthros of Holy Monday, in which Joseph was tempted by the wife of his master, who, because Joseph was comely, she wanted to sleep with him, but he thought it was better to run naked in the streets and keep his dignity and his prayerful demeanor than it would have been to be fully clothed and to sleep with this woman. As such, he was thrown in prison because she said that he touched her when he really didn't. And while he was in prison, he interpreted the dreams of individuals that were there. One of them was the cup holder for the Pharaoh, and the other was a baker. Well, the one was executed. The other was told that he was going to be brought back to his former glory, but then was told, "Remember me when you do this." And then Pharaoh was having a dream in which 7 cows were eating 7 other cows, and he didn't understand what any of this meant. Well, the man finally remembered, oh, that's right, Joseph can interpret dreams. So he brought Joseph up. Joseph told him, you're going to have 7 years of good years, then you're going to have 7 years of famine. So you need to prepare. You need to have the storehouses full for these years of famine. So Pharaoh gave everything to Joseph and told him that, okay, you are as if you're Pharaoh yourself. Whatever you say, they will do. And so they did this. For 7 years, all of the good years, Egypt put everything in storehouses, preparing themselves for the years of famine. When the years of famine came, well, everyone is hungry now, except for Egypt. So people are going to Egypt to buy grain. This includes Joseph's brothers, who had sold him into slavery, but they do not recognize that it is Joseph. Joseph asked them about their father. Of course, they don't know that he's asking about his own father. They said, your servant, our father, is well, he is still alive. And they bowed their heads and made obeisance. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, is this your youngest brother of whom you spoke to me? God be gracious to you, my son. Then Joseph made haste, for his heart yearned for his brother, and he sought a place to weep. And he entered his chamber and wept there. Then he washed his face and came out, and controlling himself, he said, let food be served. Then Joseph could not control himself before all those who stood by him. He cried, make everyone go out from me. So no one stayed with him. When Joseph made himself known to his brothers, and he wept aloud so that the Egyptians heard it, and the household of Pharaoh heard it. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? But his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed at his presence. So Joseph said to his brothers, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. Now, of course, they're frightened because they sold their brother into slavery. Before this, they were actually going to kill him. But Benjamin convinced them not to do it. And so he was sold into slavery. They all think she's going to get his revenge on us. But they don't realize Joseph is righteous. Joseph is everything that we all should be. And he said, I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. For God sent me before you to preserve life. For the famine has been in the land these 2 years, and there are yet 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to keep alive for you many survivors. So it was not you who sent me here, but God. And he has made me a father to Pharaoh and lord of all his house and rule over all the land of Egypt. Make haste and go up to my father and say to him, thus says your son Joseph, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not tarry. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near me, you and your children and your children's children, and your flocks, your herds, and all that you have, and there I will provide for you. For there are yet 5 years of famine to come, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty. And now your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see, that it is my mouth that speaks to you. You must tell my father of all my splendor in Egypt, and all that you have seen. Now, of course, this is also iconic. After the resurrection, Christ is not recognized by his disciples either. And so he is revealed to them in glory because of the breaking of the bread on the road to Emmaus. Then he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck, and he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. And after that, his brothers talked with him. When the report was heard in Pharaoh's house, Joseph's brothers have come. It pleased Pharaoh and his servants well.
From the book of Proverbs.
He who keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. Scoffer is the name of the proud, haughty man who acts with arrogant pride. The desire of the sluggard kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. All day long the wicked covets, but the righteous gives and does not hold back. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination. How much more when he brings it with evil intent? False witness will perish, but the word of a man who hears will endure. A wicked man puts on a bold face, but an upright man considers his ways. No wisdom, no understanding, no counsel can avail against the Lord. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. The rich and the poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all. Prudent man sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. The reward for humility and fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life.
I hope that you've enjoyed today's spiritual calisthenics. Have a blessed and wonderful day.